My name is Ruchi Kapoor and I am your English mentor for today's session. And I started with an amazing game. You all participated with such a high end energy. So that means you're really geared up. I want that same energy to be maintained throughout the session. Please stay with us to the end of the session, right? And keep on participating and keep on learning because that's also one way of learning. Your participation do matters to us. All right, my dear students, because this is a mega session, it's a live session, that is the reason your mics have been muted from the back end. So please make sure the only means of communication which we go ahead with is the chat box. And to help you out with the chat box and your doubts in the chat box, we have some amazing teachers with us who will be there to help you in every bit throughout the session. So, my dear students, please make sure you answer in the chat box. You ask your doubts, you ask for certain clarifications, whatever are your questions that are there in your mind, please make sure you use the chat box very wisely for communication, right? Please use it only for the communication which is related to the session today, not for your personal conversations. It'll be really appreciated. I know you're amazing. This is just a little reminder to you, right? All right. So, what are we going to do in today's session, and what is the session going to be all about? Let me share out that with you. So, today we are going to we learn how to analyze a report and plan the actions with the help of certain adverbs. So, this is the learning objective of today's session. Well, before we start working on the same and going ahead in the session, I want you to all understand the classroom rules. So, my dear students, I request you all to have a notebook and a pen with you. Take notes and ask questions. Use the chat box for communication, but use it very wisely. Also, press the thumbs up button if you agree and the hand raise icon on the screen in case you find or face any kind of an issue or problem. If this hand raise icon is not visible on your screen, please use a hand raise emoji instead. The chat box rules have been posted for you. I want you to have a quick look at them, right? Please understand the classroom rules and the chat box rules. And if you're not able to understand, please let us know in the chat box. All right, Prachi, I'll really appreciate if, all of you, not only Prachi, but all of you have this kind of, make it a point, right? That anyway, we have to cope up and we have to learn only in English because that's how we'll develop a love for this language, right? Believe me, it'll be difficult for you in the initial phases, but going forward, I can guarantee you, you'll start loving and you'll start enjoying, right? So try to take some tiny steps, right, in understanding things. If you find really a difficulty in understanding anything, your chat support buddies are there, right? Ask them your doubts, ask them about a specific word, right, for its meaning or translation in Hindi. They're there to help you out. Also, remember that your participation is really important because at the end of every session, we have a leaderboard. So, if you want to see your names right there on the leaderboard, please make sure that you're very quick in responding to the questions. Also, in between the session, if you feel that your screen has frozen, you're not able to see anything, and you're in a fix what to do, refresh and rejoin. In case you're not able to see any question on the screen, because of which you're not able to tap on the answer, the questions will be posted in the chat box for your convenience and you can answer in the chat, right? And at the end of the session, we'll have a special appreciation for all those who are engaged actively in the chat box, and you will be given the title of a chat box rockstar. All clear? All set? All right. Then I don't think so there's any reason to wait for. All right, so let's start our class by learning about optical illusions. A new name, right? All right, so my dear students, what actually optical illusions are? A small example of the same is right here in front of you. An optical illusion is something that deceives, right? the I by appearing to be other than what it is. Sounds a little complicated, but something which is really understandable. So you look at a picture and you think, oh, this picture is, or this figure talks about this, or this picture is all about this particular object. But actually, in reality, it is taken to be something else. So, what you perceive, what you think, and what you see from your eyes is not the real truth. So, that's how your eyes also deceive you and cheat. Cheat you all. All right. So, these are just so optical illusions basically are nothing but the kind of pictures which can just trick your eye, and looking at the first time you'll feel it's something else, and when you come to know the answer you'll think acha, yeah, I could have taken it in this way and from this angle also. All right, so here in this image there is an outline, right, of two people, maybe, or it can be something else also. Now you have to observe this picture very carefully and let me know what are your views on the same. What do you feel it is? All right, so I give you two options, right? Don't think too much about it because I know optical illusion is something which is sounding to be really difficult, right? So I'll make it easy. Are you able to see the outlines, right, of two people? Or do you think that this picture is of a vase? Think and respond in the chat box. Two people looking at each other. Okay, a valley. See that that's again a different way of looking at it. A valley, yes. So valley is actually a space between two mountains. Seems like that. Two people. All right. Mirror. That's one way of looking at it. Good. So see, that is what it can be, an image of a person who's looking in the mirror, right? So a vase, all right. A pillar, all right. When two people are looking at each other, all right. Yes, good, good, good. So I see that most of you have actually answered two people, outlines of the two people looking at each other, but maybe it is a vase also. I'm also a little confused on this. Right, so that is what optical illusion makes you and leads you to confusion. All right. But good. You can take it and consider it to be anything, right? It's all about your perception on a particular thing, how you see, right? All right. Good, 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 good. But I think vast is more appropriate. One amazing answer which I got, like valley. We can go ahead with that also. And if you apparently look at, yes, the first thing that comes into my mind is, or anybody's mind would be, the outline of the face. Good. And here's another picture for you, again based on this optical illusion right here. What do you see in this image out here? Evaluate from different angles. Evaluate from different angles and then respond in the chat box. All right. Hari, Arya, Arpita. Emotional gap between two people, Mrityunjay. That was, oh, out of the box. It's a mirror. All right. A rabbit. All right. A duck, Shubham. Yes, yes. So confusion between a rabbit and a duck. So if you see it from one angle, looks like a rabbit. See it from the other angle, the image tricks you. Can be taken to be a duck also. Good. So talking about optical illusions, today's session will be all about visiting to a special place. And it's a museum, right? Which has plenty of mirrors. It's the hall of mirrors that we're going to visit today, right? And there are certain mirrors in that museum that actually plays a lot of tricks on your eyes and on your mind. So, are you all ready to explore the hall of mirrors? Yes? All right. So I am really excited for the same, and I hope that all of you are too after I've said this. So we'll be heading to the Hall of Mirrors, which is a home to one of the famous mirrors, which I would like to make a mention of, the famous Looney mirror. And this mirror, you know what it does if you stand before it or in front of it? It reflects the caricature of the person. Now you must be thinking, oh, my 10th graders would be wondering why all the difficult words for us only today, ma'am. Don't worry, I'm there to help you out with everything, friends. So don't worry, take it easy. So you stand before this loony mirror, and a normal image, a normal person would look so different. Like, see, a kind of a cartoon character. So, this is what is actually a caricature, a drawing of someone that usually makes them look silly by enhancing or exaggerating upon their features. So this girl is simply staring at the mirror. And look how the image is formed. One eye being just closed. So it seems like funny, right? So this is what this special loony mirror does. And believe me, this hall of mirrors is actually a place where so many visitors come every day to just enjoy these special things. The beauty of these different mirrors, stand before them to pose, to take the selfies, and all these lovely things they actually do. All right. I hope that you're clear with uh, the content till here. All right. So now I also wanted to state that many visitors actually line up and they gear up and they always have that kind of an interest. No, we have to visit. And there are some visitors who come on a daily basis to actually enjoy it. But over the past few weeks, this hall of mirrors have started showing a decline in the number of people visiting here. Really don't know what is the reason, but got this information. Now, the manager of this particular museum is actually worried because he's not finding the right reason and the fact behind it. So he has invited a public relation officer who's a specialist, right, in understanding about, who deals with the publicity aspect, the advertisement aspect, and is able to kind of draw conclusions about why is the sale decreasing, why is the footfall of the people decreasing. That person works on that note. So let's see a conversation that goes on between the manager and this newly appointed public relation officer.
Mirrors. I'm sure you must have noticed that the Hall of Mirrors is unusually quiet.
Yes, I did. Is everything okay?
No, Pooja. In the last few weeks, the Hall of Mirrors has seen a decline in the number of its visitors.
Oh, is it because of the opening of the Museum of Arts near the Hall of Mirrors?
Yes, that may be one of the reasons. We also think that moving our most popular mirror, the Looney Mirror, to a new spot after our yearly renovations may have upset, which we can share with you. Can you analyze the data and tell us what we can do to increase the footfall?
Sure. I'll prepare a report using the data and propose a plan of action to help the Hall of Mirrors.
Sounds great, Pooja.
I will get right to it. Can you share the data recorded?
Here are the files.
Report and send it to you by the end of the day. I promise the Hall of Mirrors will be back to its old self in no time. Grade 10 learners, you can join me in helping the Hall of Mirrors too. Let's bring a change to the hall together.
All right. So, my grade 10th learners, did you realize that Pooja seems to be quite confident? So, as a public relation manager or as a public relation expert, she has given a hint to the manager that maybe the number of visitors for the Hall of Mirrors have declined because recently there has been a museum of art that has started being functional, right? So that can be one reason why they can see a kind of a decline, right? So this is one of the suggestions by Pooja. All right. Pooja also says that the manager tells Pooja that I will hand you over the reports. You analyze those reports in your own way and try to prepare and find out and dig out the reason. Why do you think that over a period of time the number of the visitors have declined, which is the right word which we use for it is footfall. Why has the footfall declined? Means the number of visitors who used to visit the museum. Why has that particular intensity gone down off late? Now, my dear students, Pooja being expert in her field, she'll be able to do this task and she'll be able to interpret the quantitative report that has been given in hand by the manager. But we must all know what is a quantitative report. Pooja also has specifically mentioned great 10th learners, please be there with me on this journey and help me to analyze and work on the reports. All right. So, being mathematics students, we all know how do we play with the quantitative report. Yes, with the graphical representation and the graphical interpretation. A report that involves analyzing a set of data to explain a situation and to propose a solution or a plan of action. So, whenever you kind of prepare a report in a graphical format and along with the graphical representation, you try to give your suggestions or your conclusions or you propose a solution. That kind of a report is basically known as a quantitative report. Now, this is the task which has been given to this public relation specialist Pooja by the manager of the Hall of Mirrors. I hope that we have understood what the task is for Pooja as well as for you. So, before we go ahead, I want you to understand and I want you to do a little analysis of this interpretation, right? So, here's the graph. This is the hall attendance. So, it's a bar graph, right? We can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the days of the week written here. The number of the people in thousands written here, right? So just analyze on Monday what is the hall attendance? 10,000. Tuesday, it reaches to 20,000. So that's how we basically do the data interpretation from a graph, right? And all this statistical information will be compiled, will be analyzed by Pooja, right? So that she's able to come to a conclusion that why is this happening? Why is the footfall actually declining? Right? So, based on this data that is shared before you all, and it's in a form of a graph, I want you to answer this question super quickly. So, my dear students, I have a question based on the data interpretation. All right. Please try and help me. Information provided which day recorded the least number of visitors. Least means the minimum number of visitors. All of you go with Thursday. All right. So Thursday means, all right, only 5,000. Yes, you all are actually correct. Good job done. Wonderful. So have you understood now what is graphical interpretation, my dear students? All right. So look at this another graphical representation, which is in form of a pie chart. So we have histograms, we have bar graph, we have pie chart, right? We use different formats of graphical representation that can actually speak or give an information about a particular thing. Now, which is the key category of the visitors to the Hall of Mirrors? So there's a graphical representation of the same, and you need to interpret it and try to infer the correct information. Thank you, Saksham. Thank you, Saransh. Thank you, Manpreet. Thank you, Tanvi, Ankit, Shaurya, Debatra, Ronit, Himanshu, Kashaf, Udabir, Sambhavi. Right. So the maximum percentage is of the children. Absolutely correct. So the Hall of Mirrors, the key participants, the key visitors are the children. Right. So I hope that you have followed and you have understood this, because 60% it is very well evident. Good job done. All right, so your skills in analyzing the data are really impressive, and this I've just seen, right? We have examined a few samples of the data already, right? And now it is time to actually go ahead and present it and kind of prepare a report, which is all a quantitative report. So, your proposals, your suggestions, backed with this graphical representation and your interpretations on the same. I think when you prepare this kind of a report, it is all complete. But to present the report in a very concise manner, it is very important for all of us to use adverbs. Now, adverbs play a very great and important role. You must be thinking, why adverbs? I'll tell you. Adverbs add a meaning to a verb. Adverbs help in modifying a verb or an adjective or another adverb. So if you write or if you use adverbs, they make it a little more they describe the thing or they describe the adjective a little more. They talk about the intensity, right, of that specific adjective or that adverb. Like, for example, the boy runs slowly. So, slowly defines how the boy runs. So, this verb is being defined by an adverb, which is slowly. It was a very difficult game. So, difficult is an adjective, but if I say very difficult, I'm trying to stress upon difficult. Abhay, Saransh, good. Thank you so much for your participation, friends. I'm mistaking your name. She played the violin very beautifully. So I could have written the sentence like this also. She played the violin beautifully. But if I say very beautifully, it adds some kind of an intensity to it, right? So words like very, much, more, they add a lot of emphasis. They talks about the intensity of that specific quality that we are trying to highlight. And if we use these kind of adverbs, I think the data interpretation report would be like amazing. All right, so let's go ahead and understand about these adverbs a little, right? Because our learning objective is how we can analyze a report with the help of adverbs. All right.
The adverbs very and much mean the same thing, but their usages are different. Let's look at the sentence, this is very good. The word good is an adjective, and it is in its positive form. The adverb of degree, very, shows the degree of the adjective good as quite high. We normally use the adverb very to show the degree of an adjective or an adverb that is in its positive form. That's why we wouldn't say, this is very better, or this is very best. Let's look at another example. This is very interesting. Here too, the adjective interesting is in its positive form. Another example is, the mirror glowed very brightly. In this sentence, the adverb.
All right, before I actually start with the explanation part of it, Yoshub, Don't worry, I'm acknowledging your messages even if I'm not taking your name, buddy. But the only problem is sometimes it so happens that in the flow of the messages, you miss upon certain names. So it's not something which I'm doing it by intention. Please don't feel bad, all of you, if I miss upon any name. But all your messages and all your responses are getting acknowledged, right? So real appreciation for the kind of effort that you're putting up, right? All right. So we were discussing about the usage of the adverbs here. So, talking about the first adverb, very. How do we use it? Where do we use it? Let's understand. So, we can use very with an adverb also. Like the mirror glowed very brightly. It talks about the adverb of degree, like how bright it was. It was like glowing very brightly. Also, we can use very when we talk about the positive degree of an adjective. Now, my dear students, we all know that adjectives, they basically have three degrees: positive, comparative, and superlative. Adjectives are nothing but they're describing words. Like, for example, if I say small, what is the comparative for small? Smaller. And what is the superlative of small? Smallest. I hope that you're aware that adjectives are the describing words and they can be used in different degrees. Like, for example, if I take an adjective as small, you can take it as high, high, higher, highest, right? Small, smaller, smallest, tall, taller, tallest, right? Intelligent, more intelligent, most intelligent, interesting, more interesting, most interesting, beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. That's how it goes. But you must be thinking, why are you explaining us this part here? Because I want to tell you that when we use the adverb of intensity or degree very, we use this adverb very. We use it always with the positive form of the adjective. I cannot say that, oh, I could see that very smaller boy was actually raising his hand. Incorrect. Or very smallest boy, I could see there. Ooh, very small. So you use very as an adverb of degree with the adjective that has a positive degree, not with its comparative or superlative. So that's one thing which is important for you, and I want you to take a note of the same. Now, very brightly, so brightly is an adverb, and you're using another adverb of degree with adverb. So adverbs can be used to modify a verb or an adjective or another adverb in a sentence. All right. And if you have followed this, I want you to try your hands for this specific question that I have for you, friends. Tap the sentence which uses the adverb very correctly. She made the soup very quickly. She made the soup very quick. So, which one do you think is actually correct? All right, Tanvi, Tusharjan, Priyanshu, Utkarsh, Bhaskar, Anjani, Shresht, Karama, Arush, Nancy, Ame, Isha. Good, good, good. Amazing. And lovely to see your participation, friends. She made the soup. Yes. She made the soup very quick or very quickly. Which one do you think sounds apt? Very quickly. Absolutely correct. So you all are correct. She made the soup very quickly. Absolutely correct. Good job done. Here's another task for you, friends. Tap the sentence which uses the adverb very correctly. Don't touch the pot, it is very hot. Don't touch the very pot, it is hot. Ha ha ha. Sounds funny. The options are, which one do you think actually is the correct option that uses the adverb very correctly? Athar, Shashti, Shaurya, Shivraj, Atya, Karma, Tusharjan. Good. Keep up the good work, friends. Sumit, Ravi, Alia. All right, all right. Good, 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 good. Very good. Don't touch the pot, it is very hot. So you can use very before an adverb or before an adjective. But pot here is a noun. So you cannot say very pot. So we use the adverb of degree with, right, to modify it, to modify a verb, to modify that adjective. or to use it before another adverb in a sentence. And this word very talks about the degree or the intensity. So very part is actually making no sense. You cannot use very with the noun part. Good. Very good. Well done. So whatever we have discussed till now, my dear friends, is there any doubt about this adverb very? Where do we use it? How do we use it? Why do we use it? Just remember, very can be used with adverbs in its normal form. But we have to use very with adjectives only with the positive degree. Positive means the basic describing word. All right, then it's good that I can see that so many of you say no doubts. We'll have another learning video, right, which will help us to understand about these adverbs a little more. All right, then, Prince and Zubair, let's go ahead.
Let's look at the sentence. This will be much harder than I thought. Here, the adverb of degree, much, modifies the adjective harder and shows its degree to be quite high. But we know that harder is the comparative form of the adjective hard. So the adverb much is normally used with comparative forms of adjectives. Another example is I feel much better now. In this sentence too, much is modifying the comparative adjective better. Let's look at one more example. This book is much more interesting than that one. Now let's learn another usage of the adverb much. The adverb much can be used in questions. I can ask a question using the adverb much in this manner. Do you read much? The question is asking the listener if they read a lot. In this case too, the adverb much is modifying the verb read that comes before it. Another similar example is, do they travel much? We cannot use very instead of much in
another adverb that we can use, right? Another degree of adverb that we can use in a sentence. All right. To show the degree of an adjective, we use the adverb much also with the comparative form. Very was being used with the positive degree, and much we use it with the comparative degree. Good, better. Slow, slower. So slower, better, taller, shorter. All these words are comparative words. So before the comparative adjectives, you use the adverb of degree that is much, not very. You can never say this will be very harder. This will be very hard. But this will be much harder. I feel much better now. I feel very good now. So very good, much better. Remember, with positive degree of the adjective, very. With the comparative degree of adjective, much. Much can also be used to ask questions in a way that they come and they are placed after the verb. Like, for example, do you read much? Read is what? A verb. Do they travel much? So, travel is again an action word, verb. So, this is another usage of the adverb much. All right. So, I hope that it is clear to you. Do you really read a lot? Do they travel a lot? This also can be one of the way, right? This question actually implies this. Do you read much means, do you really read a lot? Do they travel much? It means that do they actually travel a lot? I hope that you are clear with the usage of much now. And if you are, please try and participate for this question that's right here on your screen. Tap the adverb which uses the tap the sentence, which uses the adverb much correctly. This looks much easy than I thought. This looks much easier than I thought. All right, so gather your understanding about whatever we have discussed and try to participate. I know you'll be able to give correct answers, friends, because you all are amazing. Good, good, good. All right, Abhishek, Patrasha, Sumit. Good. Arpita, Alia, very good. Rehan, yes, this looks much easier. So I told you much is used with the comparative form of the adjective. But here we can also say this looks very easy, right? So if you have to use easy, then of course with positive adjective we use very. With the comparative adjective, make sure that we use much. All right, good. Here's another question to check upon your understanding, friends. You have to tap on the sentence which uses the adverb much correctly. How time do you much need? How much time do you need? So, which one do you think is the correct way of putting it? How much time do you need? How time do you much need? Which is the correct way of asking a question? Good, Alia. Tushar Jain, Ronit, Tanvi, Shashti, Priyanshu, Chitra, Chinuk, Biprasha, Chetan, Chinuk, Shubhankar, Yuvraj, Grasis, Padabir, Janvi, Ashwini, Biprasha. Good, 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 amazing. Yes, that's absolutely correct. How much time do you need is the correct way in which the questions can be framed. So, what are the two different adverbs of degree that we've learned today, friends? One is very, right? And another one is much, right? So, I want to ask you, is there anything that is a doubt in the placement or the usage of these two adverbs? We use very with positive, we use much with the comparative form of the adjective. How much time do you need, Rehan? That's absolutely correct. So, my dear friends, any questions, any doubts in your mind, anything that you're not clear with? All right, Rehan. All right, Pallavi. Then I hope that the concept is all, still clear to all of you. Good. I'm really happy. Okay, so if I use the word like bigger, if I use this adjective bigger, which word do you think will be actually correct? Very or much? Which adverb will be used with bigger? Can you help me out with it, please, in the chat box? Neha, all right, very good. So we cannot use very, we'll be actually using much with it. That's absolutely correct. And why are we using much? Because we've just discussed we use much with the comparative form of the adjective. So big is a base word, bigger is a comparative word. Good, good, amazing, all of you. Shubham, Sumit, Vanchika, Madhur, very good. Tushar Jain, very good. All right. So if I've not taken all the names, please pardon me for the same, friends. And now that we're clear with the knowledge about adverbs, I think we must go ahead and time to help out Pooja. For the similar task, that there will be samples of the graphical data. Those graphical data has to be, analyzed, and then report has to be generated, the quantitative report. So quantitative report will have a lot of words like very and much. So here we go. Let's go ahead. All right, friends. So the option is given to you. Thank you, Pari. Thank you, Prince. Thank you, Chetan. Thank you, everyone. All right. So you need to tap the option that interprets the data correctly. So look at the graphical representation and then answer accordingly that which option do you feel is actually correct. The whole of mirrors has seen a much lower percentage of footfall in past weeks. The whole of mirrors has seen a very lower percentage of the footfall in past weeks. Hey friends, gear up for the same. All right, all right. So that means you all have answered correctly. Good job done. The whole of mirrors has seen a much lower percentage. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. All right. All those who had not been able to answer the question, try if you're able to see the question on the screen. Try to respond to this question if now the question is visible on the screen to you, friends. All right, Krishna. All right, Ronit, Piyush, Nandini. Good. So the whole of mirrors has seen a much lower percentage or has seen a very lower, much lower or very lower. Much lower because we use much with the comparative form of the adjectives. Absolutely correct. So that was the reason I told you that why an understanding about adverbs is really important. Here we are with another part of it. Look at the graphical interpretation and then answer on the correct statement. All right, Anshika, Harsha, Kriti, that was super quick. Just in case the question is not available, try to refresh and rejoin or look for the question in the chat box. All right, Ashutosh. We understand it happens, right? But you can try to refresh and rejoin, or else you can have a look at the chat box. There, the question is posted and try to answer there. All right, Alia, Anshika, Harsha, Kriti, Dipatra, Shivam, Srishti, Piyush, Ankit, Chanvi, Nandini, Krishna. Fantastic. Yeah, so 60% of the visitors complained that the walk to the loony mirror was very tiresome. Actually, when you were hearing that kind of a conversation that was going on, it was that the whole of mirrors got renovated. So, a loony mirror had its own position earlier. So that loony mirror was shifted from one place to right to the corner at one end, where people had to really walk down to the corridors, right? So it used to be a very long walk for them. And people used to feel that fun element, by the time they actually reached the loony mirror was all lost. Because when you get tired by walking, the charm and the freshness is not there, no. So you don't enjoy that moment, right? After being tired, you enjoy like nothing. So that I think can be again a possibility that why the visitors, were declining. All right, good. Thank you so much. Now tap the option that interprets the data correctly. Look at the data and then try and give the correct answer. 80% of the visitors think that Museum of Art is very more interesting than the Hall of Mirrors. 80% of the visitors think that the Museum of Art is much more interesting than the Hall of Mirrors. So just think about the concept where is much used and where is very used. Look at the adjective that has been used in the sentence. If you're using comparative form, we go with much. If you're using the positive form, we go with very. Kriti, Tusharjan, good. Tanvi, Shresh, Ronit, Khyati, Hana, Rufi, Ashutosh, Harsha, Pihu, Srishti, Shivam, Saksham, good. So 80% of the visitors, they actually think that the Museum of Arts is much more interesting. So for interesting, what is the comparative form? More interesting, most interesting. So before the comparatives, we use the adverb of degree, that is much. Perfect. Good job done, friends. All right. So again, have a look at the graphical presentation and accordingly tap on the correct statement. 70% of the parents pointed out that their children were very unhappy with the new mirrors. 70% of the parents pointed out that their children were very unhappy with the new mirrors. Now, the adjective here is unhappy. So, what do you think will be the correct adverb? Very or much? Tanri, Shivani, Srishti, Nandini, Pihu, Isha, Kashmira, Ravi, Sambhavi, Ashutosh, Ankit, Kura says, thank you, well done. Anvisha, Mansi, Kriti. All right. This is absolutely correct. 70% of the parents pointed out that the children were very happy with the new introduction because after the renovation, they actually had placed some new mirrors also. But changing the position of the loony mirror, I think probably that was one of the reasons. And secondly, the whole of the another museum that was there, the Museum of Art. All right, so this is a kind of a quantitative report which shows a decrease in the visitation or decrease in the footfall and the subsequent action plan. So I'm reading it out to you. Look at the first graph. Hall of Mirrors footfall decreased. By week 2, it decreased. Week 3, it was again decreased. So the Hall of Mirrors has been experiencing a decline in its total number of visitors over the past few months. However, the hall has seen a much lower percentage of footfall in the past weeks. This has become a cause of concern. So first she has highlighted the cause that the visitors have decreased. Reasons for reduced visits to the loony mirror. That is one reason. So she has highlighted that now they feel that long walks are really tedious, and earlier they used to enjoy. One of the prime reasons for plummet, plummeting, right, which means for sudden fall or sudden decrease or a quick fall in the numbers, can be attributed to the relocation of the loony mirror at the end of a 10-foot gallery as part of the hall's yearly renovations. 60% of the visitors complained that the walk to the loony mirror was very tiresome. So I think this is one of the reasons. So are you able to see that how a quantitative report is prepared? The graphs followed by the evidence followed by the content. So that clarifies everything. All right. Continuing with the same thing, changing interest, conversations with some of the visitors. So basically, Pooja is an expert, right? So she also had a word with a few of the visitors, right? So after having a conversation with some of them, she came to know that conversations with some of the visitors has also shed some light on the issue. The newly opened Museum of Arts has become a crowd puller, that there the crowd is getting attracted with its mind boggling. Mind boggling means you cannot just understand how beautiful and how amazing things are there in that museum of art, right? So very difficult to imagine and understand. There are so many great things out there in the museum because of which people are getting now attracted towards it. So changing interest from the Hall of Mirrors towards where? The Museum of Arts. Exhibits and the in-house activities which are there, like the exhibits means the pictures, the portraits, the painting, everything is so amazing. And especially they also do a lot of in-house activities. 80% of the visitors think Museum of Arts is much more interesting than the Hall of Mirrors. The data reveals that the time spent by the children in the hall has also decreased significantly due to the two mirrors that were actually introduced, the zombie mirror and the red eyed monster mirror. So these were the two mirrors which were not really liked by the children. And you all know that majority of the crowd included the children. So if the children are not happy, automatically there will be a decrease in the footfall. 70% of the parents pointed out that the children were unhappy with the new mirrors. So this is a fact coupled with the graphical representation. Now, what is the plan of action? Based on the data gathered and analyzed, in order to increase the footfall of the Hall of Mirrors, we recommend opening a gift shop and a photography booth for the visitors. So this is a very good suggestion. So see, this is how the public relations experts, they know how to attract people to their product or to their service. So she's thinking of a very brilliant idea. And we also suggest moving the loony mirror back to its original position. This is again one of the needed things to be done. Mirror, the two mirrors which were recently placed. That was the zombie mirror, and that another one was the red-eyed monster mirror. They should be actually discarded from that place. Also, they say that the two mirrors that were upsetting the children, with the mirror of illusion and the mirror of wonder, must be actually removed from that place. Lastly, we recommend inviting a popular magician, because Museum of Arts is doing some kind of in-house activities. So here, even if they do something like calling of a magician, playing some kind of magic tricks, so Mr. Magic to perform his thrilling disappearing mirror act to attract more visitors. So this can be actually a brilliant idea and a brilliant thought. So good job done. Thank you so much. I think the report is all ready. Let's see how it goes and how it impresses the manager. Right. So they've been really impressed, my 10th graders, by the kind of efforts you have pulled in. And as a token of appreciation, the manager has given you all the small optical illusionary mirrors. So please enjoy with the same. And that brings us to the end of the session, friends. Let's go back and revise as to what we learned in today's session super quickly. So we learned the usage of adverb. We know that adverb is used to add a little more meaning or put a little more emphasis on a verb or an adjective or another adverb in a sentence. So we use adverbs like very and much if we have to show the degree or the intensity of that specific quality mentioned. Like, for example, high. High is an adjective, a positive degree of an adjective. So we use very with it. We use much as a degree of adverb with harder, which is the comparative degree of adjective. And much can also be used to ask questions. So that's all. Thank you so much for your valued participation and for your time and for your presence in today's session. So I know that you're really excited and you want to know the leaderboard results. So they're right here. So, Mr. Leaderboard, yes, where are you? Shivani and Tanvi, Akansha, Patra, all right, Utkarsh, good. Arpita, Namisha, Ronit, Ashwini, Nandan, Vanshika, Krishna, Rehan, Srishti, Pari, Saransh, Alia, Sumit, Kirti, Neha, Tushar, Harshit, Shreya, Jitin, you all did an amazing job. Thank you, friends. Thank you for being so amazing. Thank you for being so participative. My 10th grade learners, Prachi, I did it too. Thank you so much, friends. I had an amazing time with you. Thank you. Bye bye. Good night and do take care. Loads of love to you. Bye bye.